Because P. Diddy be wanting the body. And you gotta tell him no.
This might be the end of Diddy's empire. The courtroom fell into stunned silence as the audio leak played. What came next? His lawyer stood up and walked out. Live.
Announcement came down. One of his defense attorneys suddenly quits the case. I'm Elizabeth Milner with Law and Crime. Now, this particular defense attorney's reason for quitting wasn't really a reason at all, making his departure.
What was on that tape that made Diddy's own legal team abandon him in front of the judge? You're about to find out. The courtroom atmosphere wasn't just tense, it was electric. From the moment Diddy stepped inside, you could feel something was different. The media presence had tripled. Protesters lined the sidewalks. Security doubled. Something big was coming, and everyone knew it. Behind closed doors, whispers swirled. Prosecutors had been building this moment for weeks. The speculation? A secret weapon. And not just any piece of evidence, something that could destroy Diddy's entire defense.
Because I know how blessed I am. If I look at it, I got it.
Yeah.
That's how Diddy be feeling.
Now, come on, man, come on.
Every movement inside the courtroom was magnified. Diddy's posture was stiff. His attorneys, restless. Meanwhile, the prosecution looked unusually calm, like they already knew they'd won. The judge called for quiet, then nodded. That's when the courtroom was hit with it. Not a video, not a file, a recording, just a voice. But it wasn't just any voice, it was Diddy's. Clear, controlled. But what he was saying, it changed everything. Multiple sources confirmed what was played was an unredacted audio confession, unedited, raw, and verified. In the audio, Diddy's voice reportedly walks through encounters with individuals whose accusations had, until now, been labeled as hearsay. He describes private situations with alarming specificity, aligning word for word with testimonies already presented to the court. For a moment, the room stood still. Then came the gasps. Jurors stared. Court staff whispered. Reporters typed in frenzied silence. It was like watching an empire collapse in real time.
Taboo. What else is forbidden? Like all this Diddy shit that's coming out. Like,
I was just gonna say, doesn't that sound topical?
Jesus Christ. The first day of the trial, did you pay attention to any of that stuff? I looked at it for like 10 minutes this morning and I was like, I gotta stop.
One source said the recording sounded like it had been captured in a studio setting. Clean, deliberate, as if it was meant to never be heard outside his inner circle. But somehow, it made it into the prosecution's hands. And once it did, the strategy had to change instantly. Diddy's legal team was visibly shaken, not just surprised, unprepared. There was a distinct moment when the lead attorney looked directly at Diddy and shook his head. Minutes later, during the court recess, he stood up, collected his notes, whispered something to his associate, and walked out. Not a break, not a tactical retreat. He resigned. On the spot. Now, let's be clear. Lawyers don't just quit mid-trial, especially not on live-recorded high-profile celebrity cases. So what happened? There are a few leading theories. One, and probably the most obvious, is that the audio contradicted everything the defense had argued up to this point. If the recording exposed inconsistencies in Diddy's statements, or worse, confirmed elements the defense had tried to suppress, it would put the lawyer's credibility on the line. Another theory is legal liability. If that lawyer had knowledge of the audio's existence and failed to disclose it, he could be facing consequences beyond just losing the case. We're talking perjury exposure, contempt of court, or bar review. Legal analysts are already speculating that the defense's entire foundation may have been compromised by internal knowledge of this tape. And then there's the unspoken possibility. The lawyer simply realized the battle was unwinnable, that continuing would drag his name through the same mud Diddy is now drowning in. In the world of high-powered legal defense, sometimes quitting is less about defeat and more about self-preservation. What we saw in court wasn't just shocking, it was historic. A defense lawyer walking out mid-trial is almost unheard of. But in this case, it might just be the first domino. Subscribe now. We're tracking every development as this trial unfolds.